when we were in Southeast Asia in the Vietnam War. Our squadron we were housed at Moffett Field Naval Air Station, and I lived very close to there in Palo Alto. And when we weren't overseas, I would recycle. And I found a warehouse about a mile from the apartment that some of my buddies and I lived in, and we go there pretty regularly every month, and I've never stopped. Good habit that I learned a long time ago in your state. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for convening this hearing as we explore the role of extended producer responsibility. I think it's helpful to remind ourselves that it's just one aspect of the circular economy for plastic. These policies should obviously work in tandem with other areas like recycling infrastructure investments, which we've talked about, improved data collection, because that can help inform future decisions in policymaking, and any other strategies that would leverage public-private partnerships and investment to achieve our goals. As the chairman said, I'm proud to represent California, who I believe has paved the way towards a circular economy for the benefit of both consumers and the environment. Thanks to California's leadership on recycling over the years, we've collected over 491 billion bottles and cans, including the ones that you recycled, Mr. Chairman. 1 billion pounds of carpet, right? Maybe a lot of people are familiar with the cans and bottles, but it's not just that. Carpet, 2.6 billion pounds of e-waste, because of electronics and its disproportionately impactful environmental damage if not disposed of properly, 2.2 billion gallons of used oil, and 9.6 million mattresses for recycling. I mean, we're going to take recycling and reuse everywhere we can find it. California is also one of the first states to enact extended producer responsibility legislation, with this landmark passage of SB 54 in 2022. This law requires producers to reduce single-use plastic packaging by 25% and make 100% of their packaging either recyclable or compostable by 2032. And reports estimate that the targets in the law would result in 23 million tons less of single-use plastics over the next 10 years. That sounds like a big figure. Let's try to envision what 23 million tons is. You familiar with the Golden Gate Bridge? 23 Golden Gate Bridges is what we're talking about, or 150,000 blue whales. Dr. Johnson, how can Congress best advance extended producer responsibility policies while also protecting states' abilities to act?
I do think there's an important role for states. What we would like to see is harmonization of product labeling, product characteristics, so that because our products flow freely across state borders so that we don't have conflicts of laws and we can capture good economies of scale. To me, those are the two most important things that we need from a federal level, but states obviously should have, a lot of capability to design these systems to meet their state's particular needs.
Right. And I think in addition, this is my position for the record here, I think we in Congress can learn what's worked at the state level and try to broaden that across the country while not preempting those states that can and want to be even more aggressive. It's an important balance in policy relationship to have. In my time remaining, I want to touch on at least one other topic. California was one of the first states to pass a beverage container deposit law, which established what Californians know as California's redemption value, the CRV, on beverage containers. Now, this fee, or deposit, as it's referred to, is either returned to consumers when they recycle their bottles and cans or given to a curbside operator or nonprofit recycler. And thanks to California's bottle bill, our beverage container recycling rate is at 70%. We've had higher marks at some point, but 70% is pretty successful. Ms. Simon, What other complementary recycling systems should be considered and incorporated into federal extended producer responsibility policies?
Thank you so much for the question, and thanks for your leadership. I think it's really important that we learn from what the states have been doing and what really creates sustainable secondary markets for all materials, because we do know that we are way outpacing the world's ability to produce all of the things we depend on, and we need to figure out how to get them back. So there's a lot of elements that we would build into a system like EPR that could extend beyond single-use products, right? You can learn from DRS to create, and how the incentives work in that, to enact incentives for reuse systems and recovery in the shared community. You can create better harmonization and design standards across a whole host of different product categories, right? We are primarily talking about municipal solid waste here and single-use materials, but there is apparel, there is electronics. There's a lot of other industries that are going to learn from what is happening in this space, and we should be considering those as we look at what type of mechanisms could be successful in helping us to recover those unneeded resources in one place and provide them for other industries in another.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chair, I'll just remind us that recycling is the third of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and then recycle. Back to you, Mr. Chair.